What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Touchdown Texas. I'm your host, Shiva Patel, and my co host here, Nick Rodriguez. We are officially 2 days away from spring practice on the 40 acres. Longhorn football is back. So, Nick, how you feeling, man, as we get ready to get into spring?
I feel great, man. Last week we talked about the offense. Today we're talking about the defense. So, like you said, 2 days away. So excited to get into some college football and talk about the defense, baby. Let's go.
For sure, and I just wanted to give a shout out, to all the Texas teams. The women's team won last night. Baseball team took care of business against LSU. And the softball has been killing it. So great job, all the other teams on the 40 acres. And I know there's been a coaching change with men. There's going to be a coaching change with men's basketball. Right now, we don't have much information, but as we know more candidates, me and Nick will start talking about that a little bit more. Right now, there's a little bit of things are up in the air, so we're just going to stick strictly to football today. But again, before we get started, follow us on our social media channels at touchdown_Texas. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out if you like our content. And we have much more great stuff coming up as we get ready to do spring practice where we react to all that, and then also the NFL draft. So this is the place you want to be, Longhorns fans. So on the defense, the biggest headline, let's just talk about the offseason first. We've got four big defensive transfers. So let's talk about the first one. Cole Brevard. He came from Purdue, 3 years at Purdue, and he's a defensive lineman. So tell me about him, Nick, and what do you think his impact is going to be on this defense next year?
This is a guy who was at Purdue for 3 years. He's going to help with our run defense. He's going to help with our depth since we lost some guys last year. But he's a great player. I mean, as you can see, even in the picture, he's got great size. He's physical. He's aggressive and mean. Played a lot of football at Purdue. And he's a guy that has a lot of experience coming into our defense. And he's really going to help out Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill on the back end. And it's going to be a guy, again, who's going to be really, really helpful in depth and stopping the run.
Definitely for sure. So, yep, he started 11 games for Purdue last year. His stats aren't that great, but again, he played the nose tackle position. So that's a position you don't expect the player to get a lot of sacks because that's a player
Right.
you expect them to eat up the center. So, but he played like Nick said, a lot of football, 392 snaps last year, and so that's a lot. He amassed 38 tackles. He had 2.5 sacks and two fumble recoveries. So that's really good. And he's a big guy. He's 6'3", 330. He's going to play nose guard position for us, kind of what the Alfred Collins, Vernon Broden played last year. And he's going to be our
Right.
anchor up the middle. Right now, he's a better run defender than the pass rusher. So that's good because you need guys that are able to eat up blocks and get penetration. And one of the concerns was our run defense coming into this year after losing a lot of those, Alfred Collins, especially. So he's going to really help with that. He's going to eat up blocks in the middle and make it really tough, for the offense to get a running game against our defense. So now let's talk about the next guy. He was a very highly touted transfer, Travis Shaw. He's coming from North Carolina. He played under Mac Brown. So tell me about him, Nick.
It's another guy that's going to add to the depth and help with our run defense again. Like you said, there's guys that have left, like Vernon Broughton. We still have Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, and this guy that's going to help out with our run support. He was in depth. He's been at UNC. Didn't quite work out for him at UNC. They're getting a new coaching staff there with Mac Brown leaving and Bill Belichick coming in. So he's coming to Texas. He's going to be great support linebacker wise. There's another guy we're going to talk about linebacker wise that's also going to be very helpful. So again, helping with that run support, and he's going to be huge for us for that.
He's another big guy. So Texas loves recruiting big humans. He's 6'5", 2 inches taller than Brevard and 330. Imagine trying to block him if you're the center. Good luck with that. He's a really great player. He has size, he has athleticism, he has power. He can stop both the run and the pass. So he's a multifaceted player because of his size and skill set. He has great, pass rushing moves, and also he's able to not only absorb blockers, but he's able to shed blockers and make plays in the backfield. That's something that's different about Travis Shaw that he does a little bit better than Cole Brevard, and he's going to fit in really well, with our team because he's going to play more the defensive tackle position rather than Brevard's going to play the defense nose tackle position, and he's going to be a really high impactful player. He was a former 5-star at North Carolina, but in my opinion, Shaw and Brevard are going to be our two starting defensive tackles. We know them two are going to start. It's just a matter of just the depth after them and see who else steps up, behind them. But let's talk about the third defensive tackle position, defensive tackle transfer that we got. That is Hero Canoe. He's originally from Germany. He played soccer growing up, and he was at Ohio State. So, what do you like about his game, Nick?
Well, he's got a lot of size. He hasn't played a lot of football, like you said. He's from Germany, grew up playing soccer, so he's only playing football for a few years now. He's at Ohio State. Didn't play too much while he was there, but he's a guy that has all the physical tools in the world to be a great impact player right away. You just need to coach him up a little bit, and he'll have the opportunity to certainly play. He's got great size. You can see him in the picture here. He's huge. It's just learning the mechanics of football and how quickly he can pick that up. So if not this year, big impact, maybe next year he can make a huge impact for us. But he's got great feet. Playing soccer
Mhm.
for most of his life. Quickness, strength. He's got all the tools. It's just going to be how quickly can he pick it up. And for a guy who's only been playing for 4 years from Germany to go to Ohio State, and then now he's at Texas, big time program. So he'll be good. He'll just take some time to completely develop into who he can be.
He is a culture fit for us because coming from Germany, he played high school football for 1 year in California. It was a powerhouse. I don't remember the name, but it was a powerhouse. Then he went to Ohio State, knowing that he needed to get some development. He was a raw player, but he has the size, he has the athleticism, he has the tools. We just need to unlock all those tools from him. And he played. He started his true freshman year was 2022. He redshirted. 2023, he had 90 snaps, and he had 1 sack, which is it's not the best, but he's still a young player. But then last year he had 123 snaps, so he really upped the snaps last year on a championship Ohio State team. He appeared in 16 games. He had 4 tackles and 2 pressures and he just didn't play that much because they had such a lot of they have such depth. They had a lot of great players in front of him. So he's going to be a player that's not going to come in immediately and start, but he's going to be a good rotational piece for us. And he can learn under Kenny Baker. He can develop more his game, get some more strength, and I think he's going to be. He has 2 years of eligibility. The rest of the guys have 1, so he has a chance to come in, get his feet wet this year, and then be a really high impactful player in 2026. So let's talk about the last defensive transfer portal addition. This is a linebacker, Brad Spence from Arkansas. So tell me about his game and what do you like about him?
Well, this is a guy that we saw in person, right? I mean, he played against Texas, and he had 7 tackles against us in that game. He had a sack. He's all over the football field. He's going to help us with linebacker depth. I mean, you have him, you have Anthony Hill. That's going to help a lot. Again, he's a guy that's going to help in the running game. You can see that we're targeting guys that are going to be depth pieces, starting pieces, rotational pieces, and that's what it is for defense. You need multiple guys throughout a season. Guys go down, guys outperform, guys get hurt. You just need multiple guys throughout a game, throughout a season. And this is another guy who's played a lot of football at Arkansas. He's a great run stopper. And then, he's just going to help out Anthony Hill even more, getting after the quarterback. And these are going to be some vital pieces that can help out our football team this season.
Definitely. So in 2024, he played the third most snaps out of Arkansas linebackers. He had 34 tackles and 5 sacks in 12 pressures. So he has some production, So this year, and he was all over the field against Texas when we played on the road against Arkansas. We were very familiar with him. He's a very good tackler too. He does not miss a lot of tackles, which is very important. So he's much better in going downhill and rushing the passer than in coverage. Like as a redshirt freshman, they try to make him more of a coverage linebacker. He was good, but not great. But then last year, when they allowed him to just rush the passer, he was very effective, and we even had a hard time blocking him last year. So he's going to add another dynamic with Anthony Hill because that's 2 guys that can rush the passer but then you can keep the defense guessing because one of those guys can stay in coverage and the other guy can rush the passer. So you really can do a lot of exotic coverages, and he's going to fit very well with Anthony Hill. I do not want to get forget about Leona Lafau, who also was among Anthony Hill last year. So you'll see Anthony Hill's going to stay on the field, but then there's going to be a rotation between Brad Spence and Leona Lafau. And the good thing about it is, whenever one starts, whenever the other one comes in, there won't be any drop off. They're both players that can stay in coverage and rush the passer. So that's going to be really effective and make our defense take our defense to another level. So now let's talk about just the defensive line room in general. So we talked about the three defensive linemen that we got from the portal, much needed because we needed a lot of depth. But I want to talk about a player that we landed, a 5-star from Georgia, Manchester, Georgia. It's me and Nick's backyard as we are in Atlanta. So Nick, Justice Terry, he's a top 10 player in the country. He has the size. What do you think his impact is going to be this year as a true freshman?
Man, I think it could be similar to Anthony Hill, right? I mean, Anthony Hill right away as a freshman was mauling people, getting after them. It's gonna be see how quickly he can get onto the field, and once he does, I think by September, October, he'll be on there starting, and he'll be a freak of nature. As you can see, I mean, he's a 5-star recruit. He's fast, he's big, he's physical, he's smart. He has all the intangibles in the world to be successful. So just a matter of like, is he going to fit in right away, or are they going to have the vets start? Eventually, I think at least by midseason, he'll be playing a lot more, and he's going to be a big, big impact player for the next few years for us. So he's going to be so exciting to watch, and can't wait to see him sacking the quarterback. And got Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, bunch of other guys in the secondary as well that we'll get into as well. But I think it's going to be an immediate impact for me.
He is going to be immediate impact, and he's enrolled. He's been on campus since January, and the reports coming out of UT is they love him already. He has a business-like workman approach, which you don't get that from a lot of 5-stars. Me and Nick have heard stories about 5-stars coming in as prima donnas, thinking that they're going to start already. No, this guy has come in, put his head down, and worked both in the weight room and in off-season workouts, winter conditioning. He has a size. He has the power. Good luck trying to block him. In my opinion, he's going to be more of a 5-tech player. 5-tech is between the defensive line, then that lines up between the guard and the tackle. He'll be like more of a 5-tech defensive end type of player. But then as he gets bigger, they're going to start moving him closer to the ball once Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw leave, maybe year 2. He's going to start moving closer to the ball. But he's going to have such an impact this year. I don't want to forget about the other defensive linemen that we signed that are freshmen. Josiah Sharma from Folsom, California. He's another big guy that can have an impact. He has great pass rushing moves as well. Myron Charles from Florida. So these 3 freshmen have a real chance to provide depth between the 3 defensive tackles that we talked about earlier. And in my opinion, I want to get your thoughts about this. I think we still need one more defensive tackle from the portal in the spring. Do you agree with that statement, Nick, or do you think that we can go forward through the season with these guys that we've talked about?
I think if we don't, you really need your freshmen to step up, like a Justice Terry, like the other guys you mentioned, like the transfer portal guys. So I think it's ideal to always have another defensive lineman in there. It's kind of like what we talked about last week with running backs. You can never have too many, just because one goes down. Like Alabama used to do that a lot. Excuse me, where you have more fresh legs throughout a game in the fourth quarter or throughout the season. So I think it's the same thing with defensive linemen throughout a season. So I think, yeah, if we can get another guy, that'd be awesome. And if we were not able to, our freshmen and transfer guys are going to have to step up just a little bit more because the talent's there. It's just how quickly can they pick it up? How quickly can they compete at that high level? But I think it'd be ideal just to get another guy. It's never going to hurt, right? And get another rotation piece.
So I think, in my opinion, if we don't get another defensive tackle with the portal, that's a sign that the staff really likes these freshmen because and they're progressing very well as we get into spring practice. So you need depth, you need bodies in the SEC because you're gonna have injuries. You're gonna now that we're a team that's championship competing, we're going to be playing in a lot of games, like 15, 16 games. So you're going to need
Yeah.
a lot of bodies there. One guy I don't want to forget about, he was a freshman last year and he actually got on the field. Number 97, Alex January. He is a legacy. His dad played at Texas. He did not have the stats last year, but the staff trusted him in a lot of interesting third quarter and fourth quarter situations. I looked up and I'm like, wow, 97 is in the game. So he's going to be a sophomore this year. Let's see if he can continue to get in the weight room, get bigger, get stronger. So that's four pieces. And then we have the three freshmen that we talked about. So right now we have seven defensive tackles that they're young and inexperienced a little bit, but they're very strong players that have a high ceiling. So that's going to be a position that I'm going to be watching the most this spring. How does the defensive tackle position line up? Because we were worried when we lost Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat 2 years ago, but then
Right.
Alfred Collins and Vernon Broden stepped up last year. So who is going to be the Alfred Collins and Vernon Broden this year? Is it going to be Brevard? Is it going to be Shaw? Maybe Hero Canoe surprises. So that's going to be a very interesting position. But another very fun position that Texas has a lot of depth in is the edge rusher position. So let's talk about right now. I'm showing Colin Simmons. What do you think of his jump is going to be from freshman to sophomore year? Last year he had 9 sacks, which was crazy, and 31 solo tackles. So what do you think his impact is going to be this year as a sophomore?
I think it's going to be even bigger. I mean, there could be player of the year implications for him, depending on how well the season that we have. I mean, you have him, you have Anthony Hill, you have the guys in the secondary that we'll get into, Muhammad and Taft, but he's going to have an amazing year. I mean, he's such a fast, smart, intuitive player. And you can see throughout the season last year, he just got better and better. He got smarter and smarter. He's going to take a risk sometimes and he'll get fooled every once in a while, but I think you want that. I think, you can't always play by the book. You have to go off of instincts, especially if you're that talented.
Hmm.
Obviously, he was a big time recruit. He was, played big time football in high school and he's playing big time football now. So he's got great instincts. Sometimes you get burned as a defensive player, but you want that, right? You want to be able to take that risk because sometimes you get the benefit of it. You force a fumble, you get a big sack, you help someone else get a sack. So I think he's going to have a monster year again because he had a monster freshman year, and I think he's going to repeat that again.
I like that you said that he got fooled a couple of times because he did, and because he's a very aggressive player that has his first step is so quick. The way that he just gets off the ball, it is so quick. It surprises a lot of tackles. Yes, he missed some opportunities because he was too aggressive. But what I like about Colin Simmons is he's a quick learner. He did not make the same mistake twice. He learned from his mistakes and he knows what he has to do in order to correct them and be a really high level player for us. So that's a very positive thing for Colin Simmons. I think he had 9 sacks last year. I think he's going to get 13, 14 this year. Yes, because we have so much more pieces that the defense has to account for. He's going to have one-on-one opportunities against offensive linemen that are not as quick, that are not as fast, and not as physical as Colin Simmons. So I really like that because he's a very quick off the ball player, but he also has a physicality in the pass rushing moves to go along with it. So he had some really big games last year. 2 sacks against Mississippi State, 2 sacks against Arkansas, sack in the college football playoff against Arizona State. So he's going to be a really, really high level player for us, and he's going to continue his development and have a monster sophomore year. Also, let's talk about another pass rusher, Trey Moore. So Trey Moore struggled a little bit to start the year, but he came on from the middle of the year to the end of the year. He had 5.5 sacks. What are your expectations for Trey Moore in year 2 with the Longhorns?
I think this could be like a Vernon Broughton kind of guy where he really steps up. When we got him from UTSA, last year we were pumped. He had a great year against UTSA. He had a great game against us 2 years prior. But he struggled at the very beginning of the season with us. As the season went on, he got better and better and better, and he made more and more of an impact. And that's what I really see for him this season from the beginning of the year. We opened the season against Ohio State. He's going to have to be amazing in that game. They're going to be introducing a new quarterback. We will too. So that's going to be interesting. But I do think he's going to have an immediate impact this year. It was a big difference from him going from UTSA to Texas, especially
Mm-hmm.
us in our first year in the SEC. A lot guys are a lot bigger, smarter, faster. But he got used to it. He's got the body for it. It's not like
Yeah.
he's out of shape or he can't hang. He can definitely hang. And you could see that as the year went on. And I just think he'll be more prepared going into this season, and he's going to be awesome. Just a guy to watch as one of the all stars for our defense is going to be Trey Moore for me.
So Colin Simmons gets all the headlines, but Trey Moore is a really, really good player for us. He came on, like I said, 5.5 sacks, which was very important. He's going to be in the NASCAR package, which we get all our fast guys. One end is going to be Trey Moore. The other end is going to be Colin Simmons. Good luck trying to stop that because one of them is going to get to the quarterback. Trey Moore, he needed to work on his pass rushing moves a little bit. He was a little bit of a one trick pony last year, but I think he's been really getting in the lab with Kenny Baker and working on his counter pass rushing moves. And I think that's going to be very important. But what I like about Trey Moore is he has a high motor. Even if the play gets past him and the running back is running, he does not give up on a play. Or if a quarterback gets out of the pocket, he'll run the quarterback down, and he's a sideline to sideline player. So you respect the grit, you respect the hustle from Trey Moore. He's going to be a player that's going to. He had 5.5 sacks last year. I think he's going to have like a Colin Simmons freshman year type of impact, 8 or 9 sacks, get drafted in like the I'll say the third round, but he's going to be one of our top two pass rushers, and I expect him to continue to even getting better as he gets progresses in his career at UT. Another player before we move on to the secondary I want to talk about is Ethan Burke. He's another defensive end edge rusher. He took a little bit of a step back in his junior year, mostly because the staff was giving a lot of snaps to Trey Moore. And a lot of fans had a problem with that through the first half of the season because they did not see the production from Trey Moore. And they were like, Ethan Burke should have played a lot more. Well, this year, let's see what kind of role they're going to give Ethan Burke. That's going to be very interesting to see because he had a great freshman and sophomore year. His junior year was up and down, mainly because Trey Moore surpassed him. But now he's going into his senior year. He has all the size and tools. He's 6'7", former lacrosse player. So I want to see how much of an impact Ethan Burke has this year. And what are your thoughts about him coming into this season?
It is going to be interesting. How much are they going to split that time with Trey Moore? It's a good problem to have if you're Texas fans because they're both guys that have been productive. Obviously, Ethan Burke was the main guy on that fourth and goal stop against Texas A&M. So he has the physicality. He can, get his way through an offensive line. He's huge. Ideally, you have both of them operating, and you can get both of them enough playing time to keep them both happy. But yeah, he's another guy that let's see what are they going to do with him. I love Ethan Burke. I think he's awesome. He's great in the run game. You just got to keep him consistent. And then if he's taking a rest or if he gets hurt, then you have Trey Moore. So hopefully they can feed off of each other
Mhm.
and use each other. I mean, I think they're going to both be useful, especially since it's a senior year.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to want him, and he's big, and those big fourth and goal stops. I mean, he's in there most of the time. Arizona
Mhm.
State, Clemson, he had a big stop. A&M, he had a big stop. He was the one who made the tackle, so he's going to be in there. He's going to have a nice chance to play a lot of snaps, but they're going to give a lot of chances to Trey Moore too. So it's who's better in certain packages and things like that, and then keep the other team guessing as well, right? Is it going to be Trey Moore? Is it going to be somebody else? So it's going to be interesting to play out, but they're both great players, and hopefully we get to see a lot of them this season.
The biggest thing I liked about Ethan Burke last year, this is going to help him with his NFL career. Yes, he did not get the snaps that he wanted to, but like Nick said, he made the most out of his snaps. Whenever he was on the field, he had production, and you have to respect that about the guy. He did not complain.
No,
He continued to put his head down and work, and he's like, okay, I might not be playing as much as I wanted to, but let me make the most out of the opportunities that I get to
right.
play. And he's a fan favorite. He's an Austin kid from Westlake High School. He did sack Cade Klubnik, his Westlake teammate, in the quarterfinals game. So shout out to Ethan Burke. But he was a former lacrosse player, and he's going to be an NFL player. No matter if he has the production or not, I think he's still going to get drafted because he just has the size and the measurables. And so let's see. That's going to be another interesting battle to watch the edge rushing position in the pecking order this spring. So let's talk about the last two positions on the defense. I want to start with the safeties, and Longhorn legend Michael Taft and it was a big news that he returned for his senior year. He's going to be patrolling, and he's going to be the quarterback for this Longhorns defense. How do you think Michael Tapp is going to progress after having such a monster year last year?
I think it's going to be great. I really do. I have a lot of high expectations for this Texas defense. Clearly, I think, he was with Jahdae Barron for several seasons. Jade's gone now. Now it's kind of handed over to Michael Tapp. So I think he's gonna. He's always been a great leader. He's the classic walk on. He had the one offer from Rice. Walks on here and he becomes an All American. I mean, such a great story. So I think he's going to continue being that great leader. He's fierce. He is not afraid of hitting anybody, which you need as if you're a linebacker, of course, he's a safety, but you need that to be that fierce. Corners, safeties, you're going to get burned. Like that's just what happens. But does not care about his body at all. He's going to be awesome. He's going to lead some of our younger guys. But I think he's going to have a great year. I think it helped him to have Jahdae Barron with him last year, and now Jade's gone and hands off the baton to Michael Taft, and he's going to get those guys going, and we're going to have a great secondary once again. And it's going to help. They're going to work together, having that great secondary and that great defensive line, and to help each other. And I think he's going to have another great year and help his draft stock even more.
He's going to help his draft stock a lot this year. He was a first team All American safety. He did get robbed. He should have made the first three as All SEC teams. That was robbery last year. But he's going to be such a great player from us. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's smart. He's instinctive. He had 2 interceptions. He's always around the ball. He has no regard to his body. He'll hit you. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he will hit you and he will make you feel it. So I respect Michael Taft a lot and his game a lot. And it was a huge that he came back for his senior year. So he's going to be playing the field safety, the boundary safety. That's an open competition. We think it's going to be Jelani McDonald, number 25, who we noticed at the Vanderbilt game. He played a lot in the Vanderbilt game, but they put him in the box a little bit more. But now he's going to be outside on the safety. He's a very talented player, but he's a young player. He's only going to be a redshirt sophomore. So let's see how he progresses this spring. And because it's either going to be him or Derek Williams, who played a lot his first 2 years on the 40 acres, but he's coming off a major injury. So that's going to be a very interesting battle that we're going to keep track of. Jelani McDonald or Derek Williams. But we know that Sark and the defense loves to rotate players in and out. So just because you're starting, that doesn't mean you're going to get the majority of the staff. So Michael Taft is going to be the constant, but you're going to see a lot of rotational snaps between Jelani McDonald and Derek Williams. But what I look for is who plays the most in the fourth quarter, because that tells you who the staff trusts more. So that's a very interesting battle that's going to happen
Right.
this spring, for the safeties, and we'll keep track of it and keep everybody updated. So let's talk about the last position on the defense, and that is the cornerbacks. Our biggest returning cornerback is Malik Muhammad, returning for his 3rd year in the program. He had an up and down kind of year last year compared to his freshman year. He got picked on a little bit, especially in the Clemson game, and then a little bit in the Arizona State game. So, Nick, are you concerned about Malik Muhammad coming into this year?
I think I have the same concerns as everybody else does. He did get picked on, but he made some great plays too. Because it's a guy that does have a lot of talent. How much can he rebound from last season? I'm not gonna say last season was bad. Of course not. He had a great year. It's just he does have the tendency to get picked on sometimes. It does happen to him. I do think he'll have even a better year. I think, that's just going to happen to some corners. And sometimes it's just going to happen. You're just going to get burned. You're going to get tricked. Another year in the program, another year in the SEC, you see more things. You become more of a vet. Because every corner ever or secondary player, they go through that, right? You get picked on, some more than others. He got picked on for sure, and they were targeting him, but there was a reason he was still on the field, right? So there's a reason, and they still trust him. And I think he will have even a better year than last year. It's still a concern. He's still going to have to prove that he could stay on the field. He's going to have to be on the field since we lost Jade and all these kinds of guys. And there's going to be a lot of young guys that step up. But I trust him. I think he will make that jump, and he's going to have to, really, honestly.
He really is because he's the really only constant that we have at the cornerback
Right,
position.
right,
And I don't get it. I'm not as much worried that he got picked on last year because come on, if you had Johnny Barron on the other side,
right. That's what I'm saying.
so like well, you're not gonna pick
Cat.
on right.
Who are you going to throw it to? That's what I'm saying.
If you had to choose between throwing it to Jade Barron and Malik Muhammad, no disrespect to Malik Muhammad at all, but you're gonna not throw at Jade Barron because he was such a
It's the easy
dominant
choice.
player. It's an easy choice. That's no disrespect to Malik Muhammad, who was a stud. He was a big time recruit from us that we stole from A&M, by the way, because throughout his recruiting process, he was projected to go to A&M, and we stole him. So that was a great. That I like him just for that. But he's a technician. He has great concept with press coverage and having sticky coverage, and he knows how to use his hands, he knows how to use his body very well. He had 8 pass deflections, which is very impressive as a cornerback, so that I think he's going to continue to build on that. And so he's going to be our boundary corner, and he's basically locked into that position. Boundary corner is a corner that is closest to the sideline, that usually guards the outside wide receiver. But then the field corner, who guards more of the slot wide receiver, is an open competition this year. A lot of people think it's either going to be Kobe Black. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Who maybe Santana Wilson, Wardell Mack, who are young players. So let's see, because Kobe Black though has the size. He's a big corner. He's 6'2". That tells you how big of a corner he is. A lot of people thought he was going to play safety coming into college, but he was really adamant about playing corner. And Texas, when they recruited him, told him that we'll give you an opportunity at corner first, and we'll see how it goes. And then if it doesn't work out, we'll move you to safety. So right now he's going to play the cornerback position. He's right now. If the game was tomorrow, he would probably start at the field corner position. But then an X factor is Jalen Gilbo is going to be at the star position where Jade Barron played early in his career before moving to corner. So if Kobe Black struggles, the question will be, will they interchange the two? Will Kobe Black move to the star position and Jalen Gilbo play a little bit more corner? But the thing I'm concerned about with Jalen Gilbo playing corner is his speed. He's a good coverage player, but his speed is a little bit of a question. So that's another interesting battle to watch on the defense is, can Kobe Black lock down the field corner position, and who's his competition going to be with, like I said, Santana Wilson, who redshirted last year, then Wardell Mack. So that's going to be a very interesting battle. But right now, if a game was tomorrow, the boundary corner would be Malik Muhammad and the field corner would be Kobe Black. But Nick, let's just talk about a macro level about this defense in general. How are you feeling about this position group going into the fall?
It's similar to the offense to me, where there's so much talent there. It might take a little bit of time for them to all completely gel together. There's still some vets. Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, Michael Taft, Malik Muhammad. There's vets there. There's transfers. I think there's going to be some growing pains. I think that game against Ohio State is going to be so interesting because then we play a couple of cupcakes after that to really start the season before we get to SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be really interesting. But I do think this is an elite defense. Is it going to be the same elite level defense that we had last year? I don't know. I mean, that was probably the best defense in the country last year. It's going to be
It
really hard
was.
to replicate that. But it's still going to be really talented. And you don't need to be the number one defense to win a national championship. Both teams, both sides of the ball, I should say, offensive, defense, are pretty green, but they're extremely talented.
Mm-hmm.
So is there going to be lows in the season where some guys are getting hurt, some guys aren't used to SEC play, some guys are, overwhelmed? Sure, I'm sure. I mean, it's a young team, but I think by the end of the season, they will be at their best. And I think at the worst for the following season, the 2026 season, it's going to be a really, really scary, scary team. So I do think we have a lot of talent. We're a young team in some important positions, even like Arch, going back to the offensive side of the ball. He's the guy now, right? There's no questions anymore. He's the guy. So we're young. There's going to be some growing pains, I think, on both sides of the ball, but ultimately, I think we're still going to be awesome and have a great season on both sides. But even more scary is going to be that following season when everyone's coming back and they played a year and now they're all vets. So that's kind of my take on that.
Oh, it's going to be scary the following season.
Yeah.
Imagine a junior Colin Simmons who's going to be a top 10 pick. Oh my God. And then our freshman defensive linemen will be sophomores. Imagine Justice Terry as a sophomore. Scary, scary stuff. Yeah, that's going to be unbelievable. But going back to the corner position, one name that I left off was one of our players that's going to be a true freshman this year. His name is Cade Phillips from Houston. We flipped him from he committed to us first, then he flipped to LSU, but then he flipped back to Texas. It was a huge land. He is a 5-star cornerback, so he can really challenge Kobe Black. It'll be interesting to see if you play a true freshman at that cornerback position, but he's a player that can really challenge Kobe Black for that. So let's see how he does this spring and how he does in practices. But yes, so much depth, so much talent. It's a good problem to have. It's first world problems to see who's going to play, who's not going to play. And Sark said throughout the year he's going to play more guys early because in case there's injuries that they have the experience already in their feet wet, so that when we get into postseason play, they'll be ready to hit the ground running. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode of Touchdown underscore Texas. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like our content. We have so much more great stuff coming up as we get ready to get into spring practice and then the NFL draft. And be sure to go watch our old videos, especially during the season. We have some awesome reactions, and after a lot of great Longhorns wins this past year. But again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.